Oh, my mug. If there was ever a true patriot that answered his country's call of duty, it would have to be this 5'3" snow cone of glee. This is simo häihã. But don't let that smile fool you. It was the last thing hundreds of Soviet soldiers would see before being no-scoped out of life's lobby. If they ever even caught a glimpse of him, that is. Born as a Finnish farmer baby on a farm in Finland in 1905, Simo's childhood consisted mainly of helping out the daily farm chores like tilling soil, harvesting crops, petting a cow or two, and most notably, hunting game. A skill which he started to develop a real knack for. At age 17, Simo volunteered to join Finland's Civil Guard. During his volunteer work, the rather reclusive Simo stood out amongst his peers with his innate ability to handle a rifle. There's never a more iconic duo than reclusive children and firearms. Simo repeatedly outgunned his colleagues in tons of competitions, performing feats that would make you go, he's pretty good. One such feat was sniping a small target 6 times in a minute, 150 meters away, with a bolt-action rifle. For my American audience, it's like sniping a Happy Meal 6 times across 1.5 football fields in under a minute with no fancy scopes. This shit made the Finns go absolutely bonkers, but this would pale in comparison to what Simo would accomplish down the road. Fast forward to 1939. The Russian Empire, now identifying as the Soviet Union, decides to bomb themselves right on the Finnish-Soviet border. Why, you ask? To start a war, of course. The Winter War. The Soviets wanted some of that Finland, so with a few Reds dead, it was time for redemption. The Soviet Union framed Finland for the bombing, which, my dearest viewer, is called a false flag operation. Want to start a war but don't feel like being viewed as the instigator? Simply attack your own people and convince everyone that it was someone else. Problem solved. But the ill-prepared Soviets would soon regret their actions. See, Soviet Supreme Leader fella Joseph Stalin was a bit of a paranoid Peter. He had Controlled-Alt-Deleted almost all of his smartest and most competent military strategists and leaders during the Great Purge, just to make sure that they wouldn't try to figuratively, or literally, backstab him. The result? A completely incompetent Red Army showing up in the snowy white Finnish fields wearing dark brown uniforms. This meant that the enemy were easy pickings for old Slick Simo. So, clad in his iconic white camouflage and equipped with his trusty M28-30 Mosin Nagant and Suomi KP-31 submachine gun, Simo häihã would spend racking up 542 confirmed kills, earning the moniker the White Death. A name that evoked inspiration for the Finnish and terror for the Soviets. Quick side note, confirmed kills require another person to confirm them. Basically they're saying, yep, they killed that guy, I saw it happen. It's just a way to prevent egotistical snipers from claiming that they killed thousands when they were in fact just sitting there with their dicks in their hands. Anyway, Simo absolutely terrorized the Soviet forces. Having set up multiple vantage points in front of and behind enemy lines, he avoided major detection for months. Simo would enter a nest at dawn, packing down the snow and pouring water over it, giving it the proper nutrients to grow into big, strong ice. This not only stabilized his rifle, but prevented any kick-up when popping shots, which is usually a dead giveaway for a sniper's position. He even munched on snow to mask his own breath trails. When taking aim, Simo relied solely on his iron sights, not as a flex, but for tactical reasons. For one, he wasn't well trained in using scopes, so he stuck with what he knew best. He also knew that using a scope required you to raise your head ever so slightly to look into the scope properly. Those extra inches of dome exposure could mean life or death. Not to mention the fact that scopes fog up in the winter and also like to reflect sunlight, creating a glint off the glass like a giant neon billboard saying, "Look over here, I'm a fucking sniper." It wasn't until March 6, 1940 that Simo would feel the searing hot pain of his own mortality hit him right in the face. Oh wait, that was an explosive bullet fired from a Soviet rifle. Those things were banned from warfare in 1868, by the Russians no less. The bullet had ripped through Simo's face and destroyed his left jaw, rendering him unconscious and, for a little while, presumed dead. He was later rescued and hospitalized, undergoing several reconstructive surgeries, eventually regaining consciousness on March 13th, the day that the Winter War ended. Unfortunately, Simo's farmland was lost to the Soviets after the war, but the Finnish government was all, "Nah, we got you, bro," and granted him new land to start over. And just as he was before the war, Simo happily resumed his life as a humble and reclusive farmer. He passed away peacefully at the age of 96 in 2002, 11 years after witnessing the collapse of the Soviet Union. History's deadliest snipers. Oh, my mug.